See, in the Companies Act, you have 29 chapters. So today we are going to discuss chapter 10, that is audit and auditors. See, audit and auditors, that is section 141, is that we are going to discuss here. So section 141 is eligibility, qualification and disqualification of auditors. See, if you want to appoint a statutory auditor in your company, you have three choices. That means you can appoint either a person as a chartered accountant, you can appoint a partnership as your statutory auditor, you can appoint either the LLP as your statutory auditor. So when you appoint a person as your chartered accountant, the only condition is he should be a qualified chartered accountant. And second important point, when you appoint a firm as your statutory auditor, in that situation, the majority of the partners in that firm should be chartered accountants, and they are practicing in India. That is an important condition. The majority of the partners are chartered accountants and they should practice in India. That is the important condition. Please understand, the whole purpose of this chapter, wherever the term firm used, you should consider it includes LLP also. That is mentioned in 139 subsection 4, the explanation, firm includes LLP. So that means you can appoint LLP as also your statutory auditor. The only condition is majority should be the partners practicing in India. At the same time, they are eligible, or the majority of practice in India, and only the partners who are chartered accountants who shall be authorized to act and sign. So when it comes to signing, only qualified chartered accountants shall sign. So in nutshell, the eligibility criteria is, when you appoint an individual as your chartered accountant, when you appoint your partnership firm as your chartered accountant, or when you appoint an LLP as your chartered accountant, the majority conditions is the majority of partners practice in India are qualified for appointment, and only the partners who are chartered accountants shall be authorized to act and sign on behalf of the firm. And another important point, wherever the term firm is used, you should include LLP also. That means provisions applicable to firm is also applicable to LLP. See, in 141 subsection 3, that is disqualification order. There is a list of disqualification in the Companies Act. See, clause A to clause I, there are 9 disqualifications in the Companies Act. That is a total 9 disqualifications enumerated in the Companies Act. See, what is the whole purpose and intention of this provisions? See, auditors are supposed to be the watchdog of investors' money. They should protect the interest of all stakeholders. So independence of audit is an important condition that is ensured in the Act. So how the Act ensures the independence of auditors? So that is section 141 subsection 3, A to I. There is a list of 9 list of items that is in the Companies Act. First of all, first disqualification. If you are a body corporate, you are disqualified, but LLP is qualified. That is the first provision. 141 subsection 3A, clause A, body corporate is disqualified, but LLP is qualified. Second says, clause B says, an officer or employee of the company is disqualified to become the statutory auditor of the company. Then you must understand who is an officer of the company and who is an employee of the company. So for understanding an officer, who is an officer? Section 2, see, in every act, section 2 is the definition section. So section 2, subsection 59 says who is officer. So a director is an officer of a company, manager is an officer of a company, KMP is an officer of a company. Any person whose directions or instructions the board or directors are accustomed to act is also disqualified. So what does it mean? If you are a director, you are disqualified to become auditor of a company, even though you are a qualified chartered accountant. So to prevent the conflict of interest, to ensure the independence of auditors, the director is disqualified, the director of that company is disqualified, the manager of that company is disqualified, the KMP. Then who is a KMP? So KMP is defined in section 2, subsection 51. So KMP is the MD, WTD. KMP means MD, CEO, manager, halt-in director, company secretary, CFO, any person one level below the board who is designated as managerial personnel and who is in halt-time employment. So that is a KMP. That person is also disqualified to become a statutory auditor of the company, even though he is a chartered accountant. That's very important. See, if you want to become a chartered accountant, if you want to become a statutory auditor, you need to be a chartered accountant. So that is a presumption. But if you are a director, if you are a manager, if you are a KMP or any person whose direction, so that is called shadow directors, then you are disqualified to become the statutory auditor of the company. Then others, any office or employee. Who is an employee? Employee means it includes part-time and full-time employment. So you can be a part-time you can be in part-time employment or you can be in full-time. But any employment in the company will attract disqualification. See, in 141 subsection 3 clause C, in 4 situations you attract disqualification. For example, if you are a qualified chartered accountant and you having a partnership with an officer of the company, and you having a partnership with an employee of the company, and you are having an employee of an officer of the company, an employee of the company, then you will attract, see, 4 situations you will attract disqualification. That means if you are an audit, if you want to become an statutory auditor of a company, you should not enter into any kind of partnership with the officers of the company. Then who are officers? Officers are defined in 2 subsection 59. So you cannot have a partnership with the officers of the company, employee of the company. You cannot have an employment with the officer or employee of the company. If you enter into partnership or if you in employment with the officer of employee of the company, you will attract disqualification. Clause D of 141 subsection 3. See, what is clause 3? Clause D. See, clause D says if you want to become a statutory auditor of a company, you cannot hold any security in the company. Not only to that company, in the proposed company you cannot hold security, in the subsidiary company, in the holding company, in the associate company and subsidiary of such holding company. That means if you want to appoint as a statutory auditor of a company, you, your relative or your partner shall not hold any security. What is security? Securities is defined in the Security Contract Regulation Act, SCCR Act. So what is security means not just shares. Security means shares, debentures, bond, stock, etc., etc. So that means if you want to become a statutory auditor of a company, you cannot hold security. Not only you, your partner or your relative. Who is your relative? So relative is, then you have to go to section 2 subsection 77, who is a relative. So, and a proposed auditor, his relative or his partner shall not hold any security, not only in the company, a list of other company, subsidiary, holding, associate or subsidiary of such holding company. So that means who is a relative? Section 2 subsection 77 says a relative. Relative means if you are 2 subsection 77 says if you are members of Hindu undivided family, husband, wife, father, mother, including son, stepson, daughter's husband, brother, sister, including step. These are relatives. That means an auditor, his relative or his partner should not hold any security in the list of company. That in the company means company, subsidiary, holding. Not only in the company, the subsidiary also, holding also, associate also. You cannot hold securities in the associate company. You cannot hold securities in the subsidiary company. And the auditor's relative cannot hold securities in these companies. So, but in the rules, Rule 10 of Companies Audit and Audit Rule 2040, there is an exception is given to the relative. So, relative can hold security up to 1 lakh of face value. That is very important. So, Rule 10 of Companies Audit Rules 2014 have given a relaxation to the relatives, only to relatives. Rule 10 relaxation only apply to relatives. Rule 10 relaxation only apply to relatives. So, relatives relaxation is up to 1 lakh. A relative can hold security. Who is a relative? 2 subsection 77 defines who is a relative. So, relative can hold security. Relative can hold security of face value. Very important. In the question they may ask, they may give market value. So, market value is irrelevant. A security of face value not exceeding rupees 1 lakh. For example, if a chartered accountant, for an auditor, he becomes the statutory auditor of a company. His relative acquires security above rupees 1 lakh. So there is a remedial action. Then the auditor should take a remedial action within 60 days. Within 60 days, he should take a remedial action. That means he should maintain the limit within 1 lakh rupees to retain the, otherwise he will attract disqualification. So any relative acquiring security above the prescribed threshold, so the auditor should take remedial action within 60 days. That's important. So the person, the relative or partner cannot hold security in 5 list of companies. That's very important. The next, the auditor, the relative or partner should not indebted in excess of 5 lakhs to the 5 companies. Indebt means, see, up to 5 lakh is okay. If it crosses 5 lakh, indebtedness in excess of 5 lakh, if it crosses 5 lakh, you will attract disqualification. Another important point, the person, the relative or partner should not give guarantee or providing security in excess of 1 lakh. What does it mean? Up to 1 lakh you can give guarantee. Up to 5 lakh you can give indebtedness. Up to 5 lakh you can have indebtedness. Holding security, person and partner should not hold any security in the company. For a relative, there is an exception through Rule 10 up to 1 lakh. If a relative acquires security above rupees 1 lakh, within 60 days, he has to maintain the limit within 1 lakh rupees. See, 141 subsection 3 clause E. See, what does it say? If a person, if you want to become a statutory auditor of a company, you or a firm should not have business relationship with the company, its subsidiary company, its holding company, its associate company, subsidiary of such holding company and subsidiary of such associate company. See, please understand, here there is a one addition. When we studied in the case of security, in the case of indebtedness, giving guarantee or providing security, there was only 5 companies. Here it is an addition, that is subsidiary of such associate company. If an auditor wants to become a statutory auditor, he should not have business relationship with 6 class of companies. If a partnership firm want to become the auditor of statutory auditor of these companies, you cannot have business relationship. So what is business relationship? See, business relationship is defined in defined in Rule 10 Sub-Rule 4. Rule 10 Sub-Rule 4 of Companies Audit and Audit Rules 2014. See, business relationship means what? For example, you are entering into a transaction that for commercial purpose. So that when you enter into a transaction for commercial purpose, you have some interest in the company. That will compromise your independence. So the Act says auditor should always an independent and impartial professional. So when you are having a business relationship with the company in which you are going to appoint as an auditor, then your independence will be compromised. You will be in a position that will compromise and jeopardize your independence. So Act says you should not have any kind of business relationship with the proposed company. Not only the proposed company, the subsidiary company, associate company, subsidiary of such holding, the 6 class of companies they said. So even though they said in the rule, business relationship is prohibited, but there are certain exceptions. For example, they are saying business transaction means any transaction entered into for commercial purpose, except 2 transactions are excluded. That means even though you are a statutory auditor of a particular company, you can have business relationship with company provided only 2 transactions. What are those transactions? That is the transactions which are in the nature of professional nature. That means that are rendered to be permitted under Companies Act and Chartered Accounts Act. So professional services are permitted. That won't be constituted as business transaction. Again, another transaction is also excluded. That means you entered into a transaction with the company in which you are appointed as an auditor, but that transaction is in the ordinary course of business at arm's length. That means the sale of products or services to the auditor as a customer. That means there is no preferential treatment. You will be in par with other customers. Then there is no preferential treatment. That transaction will not be considered as a business transaction that compromises your independence. That means even though you enter 2 types of transactions with the proposed company, your independence will not be compromised. So what are those 2 specific transactions are excluded from the business transaction. All other transactions that will incur disqualification. See 141(3) clause F. See what is 141(3) clause F? See, if you want to become a statutory auditor of a company, if your relative is a director or a KMP of that company, then you will be disqualified. Then who is relative? See, definition 2 subsection 77 is very important definition. 2 subsection 77 you need to know. So in the section 2 subsection 77, the relative is defined. So if your relative is a director, KMP of a company, then you will be disqualified to become statutory auditor of a company. So that means here, please remember that disqualification is restricted only to that particular company. That disqualification doesn't extend to subsidiary companies or other class of companies. So here the disqualification, for example, if your relative is a director or KMP or director KMP of a company, then you will be disqualified to become a statutory auditor of a company. Now, another G clause. G clause means if you are a chartered accountant, you are in full-time employment elsewhere, then automatically disqualification attracts. That means you cannot practice an employment in simultaneous. Either you practice, when you are in practice, you should not accept employment in any company or elsewhere. So accepting of employment elsewhere will attract disqualification. See, another important provision is the limit is prescribed in the Act. An individual auditor can audit a maximum of 20 companies. A partnership firm, the limit is dependent upon the number of auditors, number of partners in that partnership firm. See, if for example, in a partnership firm, you have 20 chartered accountants in practice. That means 20 into 20. See, in a partnership firm, if the maximum number of auditors is 10, for example, 10 qualified chartered accountants in your partnership firm. So that when you compute the limit of this partnership firm, you calculate 10 into 20. For example, individual chartered accountant, the limit is 20. When it comes to the partnership firm, it depends upon the number of qualified chartered accountants you employed in the partnership firm. That's the point. So, for an individual, the maximum limit is 20. For a firm, it depends upon number of chartered accountants practice. Another important thing, for the purpose of computing the maximum number of audits a firm can hold, any partner of the firm who is in whole-time employment will be excluded. For example, in a partnership firm, there are 10 partners. One of the chartered accountant is employment elsewhere. So he cannot be counted for the purpose of the limit. So that means you can count only 9 into 20. So he will not be counted. Why? Because he is in whole-time employment elsewhere. Another important point, while calculating the limit of 20, there are certain class of companies that are excluded. What are those companies? Companies like one-person company, companies like dormant company, small company, and a private company having a paid capital less than 100 crore. That means these class of companies are excluded from the limit of 20. What does it mean? It means for an OPC, you can audit unlimited OPC. For an OPC is not counted for the purpose of 20 companies. So OPC is not counted, small companies are not counted, dormant companies are not counted, a private company less than 100 crores are not included in the maximum limit of 20 companies. See, another important condition, these companies should not be a defaulting company under 137 or 92. If you are a defaulting company under 137 means what? Filing of financial statements under 137 and filing of annual return under 92. For example, if your company is in perfect compliance, OPC, small company, dormant company or private company having less than 100 crore shall not be included for the purpose of the limit of 20 companies. See 141(3)(h). See, in this provision, if you want to become a statutory auditor of a company, if you have been convicted for an offense involving fraud and a period of 10 years has not elapsed from the date of conviction, then you will be disqualified. What does it mean? It means you got a conviction from a court. You got a conviction from a court. The moment the date of conviction, you are disqualified. Disqualified for a period of 10 years. So, period of 10 years from the date of conviction. So, for the next 10 years from the date of conviction, you are disqualified. So, the provision says that a person who has been convicted by a court for an offense involving fraud, you will be disqualified for 10 years. See 141(3)(i). See, what is 141(3)(i)? See, this is an important provision in the sense, it says that a person who, what is 141(3)(i)? A person who directly or indirectly render 144 services to the company, its holding company, its subsidiary, then you will be disqualified. What does it mean? See, for the purpose of this provision, you have to go to section 144. Then you have to identify what are the prohibited services. See, section 144 says, certain services are prohibited. certain services in which an auditor is not supposed to be rendered. So what are those services? There is a list of services. This is the list of services. 144 services or prohibited services or non-audit services. Any terminology you can use. These are 144 services or prohibited services or non-audit services. See, what are those prohibited services? Prohibited services are accounting and bookkeeping, internal audit, design and implementation, actuary services, investment advisory services, investment banking services, management services, any other services as may be prescribed. So any other service means as may be prescribed means rules may be prescribed. So far, no services has been prescribed. So these services are 144 services. An auditor directly or indirectly, very important word, directly or indirectly render. See, in this provision, three important crux word. What are the three important crux words? A person directly or indirectly. Indirectly is a very important terminology. Directly or indirectly, any service enumerated in section 44. Then you have to go to section 44 and see what are the prohibited services. So these services you cannot give three companies: company, holding, and subsidiary. Please understand, when it comes to the clause D, in the case of security, only 5 companies. Indebtedness, only 5 companies. Giving security or guarantee given, it is 5 companies. Business relationship, it is 6. When it comes to 144, it is 3. So you have to compare it for a comprehensive understanding. Otherwise, in the exam hall, you will be in doubt. So please understand, when you give security, it is for 5 companies. Indebtedness for 5 companies. The guarantee or providing security, it is for 5 companies. Business relationship prohibited with 6 companies. Now it is 144 service is prohibited to 3 companies. See, what is 144 service? What is 144 services? You have to by heart. What are the 144 services? And 3. That means the section says 141(3)(I) says a person who directly or indirectly render 144 services to the company, its holding company or subsidiary company, you will attract disqualification. See, 141(3)(I). What is 141(3)(I)? Any person who directly or indirectly render 144 services to the company, subsidiary company or holding company, you will be disqualified. See, in this provision, 3 important words you have to understand. Directly or indirectly. 144 services to 3 companies. So directly and indirectly means you directly through himself. See, this is applicable to both the individual auditor as well as the firm of auditors. So when you are an individual, you should not directly give 144 services to the company, subsidiary company or holding company. So what are 144 services? 144 services means prohibited services or non-audit services. Auditors are not supposed to render certain services. What are those services? That services means accounting and bookkeeping, actuarial services, investment advisory services, investment banking services, design and implementation of financial information system, or any other services as may be prescribed. So far, no services has been prescribed. So these services you should not give directly to the company in which the company considering your appointment. So there is a conflict of interest. See, all these provisions are to maintain the independence and impartiality of statutory auditors. So that is the whole intention of this provision. So that the Act says a person directly or indirectly renders 144 services to the company, he will be disqualified. So company, subsidiary company and holding company. So what do you mean by directly and indirectly? So that is very important. Directly means you directly give 144 service, you will be disqualified. You indirectly give 140 service through your relative. So who is relative? Section 2 subsection 77 and that is defined relative. So you are giving 144 services that are prohibited services. You are giving prohibited services to the company through your relative. You will attract disqualification. You are giving 144 services through a person connected with you. You will attract disqualification. You are providing 144 services through an entity in which you have significant influence. You will attract disqualification. And you are using a trade name or brand name of an entity, and that entity is providing 144 services, then you will attract disqualification. That means if an entity is providing prohibited services or non-audit services to a company, you should not use its brand name or trade name if you want to be appointed as statutory auditor of a company. That's very, very important. This is in the case of an individual auditors. That means if you are an individual, you should not directly or indirectly provide 144 prohibited services to the company, subsidiary company or holding company. So directly means you directly give services. Indirectly means you are giving the 144 services through your relative, through the person connected with you or associated with you, or through any other entity in which you have significant influence, or you are using the trade name or brand name of an entity and that entity is providing 144 services, then again you will attract disqualification. This is the case of an individual. Now we can consider the case of a firm. See, in the case of a firm also, through the firm, if the firm directly gives 144 services, that is prohibited services, to the company or subsidiary company or holding company, you will attract disqualification. You are not directly giving, you are giving indirectly. Second case, you are giving indirectly through the partners of the firm. Again, you will attract disqualification. The third point, the parent, subsidiary or associate. See here, connected or associate. Here, parent, subsidiary or associate, your parent firm or your associate firm or your subsidiary firm is providing 144 services to the company concerned, then you will attract disqualification. Another point is you are using the trade name or brand name of such entity that is providing 144 services, then again you will attract disqualification. That means 144 services is a prohibited services. You cannot give directly or indirectly to the company. If you provide directly or indirectly, you will attract disqualification. This provision, that directly and indirectly, is very important. Questions can come from this provision. They will create a situation. Then last question. So this is very important. You put this provision in the example and study it. See 141 subsection 4. See in this provision, you appointed as an statutory auditor of a company. You are appointed as a statutory auditor of a company. See, at the time of appointment, you did not attract any of the disqualification enumerated in 141 subsection 3. But after the appointment, you attracted disqualification. For example, your relative holds security of face value more than 1 lakh, or you are indebted to a company above 5 lakh. Or you or your relative or your partner giving security or giving guarantee above 1 lakh, or you are having a business relationship with the company or any of the companies enumerated in it, or your relative become the director of the company, or you are convicted for an offense involving fraud. So that means any of the disqualification at the time of appointment, you did not attract any disqualification, but after the appointment, you attracted any of the disqualification enumerated in 141 subsection 3, you shall vacate your office. You will be disqualified and should vacate your office, and that vacation shall be deemed to be a casual vacancy. So you should vacate this office. See, this is all about eligibility, qualification and disqualification of auditors. This is a very important section. Thanks for watching the video. See you in the next video.